Philosophical Intelligence Series, Volume 2. Operational Tools, Frameworks, Workshops, and Field Practice. In the first volume of the Philosophical Intelligence series, we introduced the foundations of a new discipline. Volume 1 answered the question, what is philosophical intelligence? It explained why human systems cannot be understood through data, procedure, or technical analysis alone. It showed that organizations, governments, communities, and institutions are shaped by deeper forces: meaning, identity, narrative, fairness, legitimacy, symbolism, and lived experience. Volume 1 gave the reader the conceptual architecture. Volume 2 now answers the next question: how do we use it? Volume 2 is the operational toolkit of philosophical intelligence. It transforms the theory of Volume 1 into practical instruments that can be used in real consulting, leadership, governance, policy, training, and organizational settings. Where Volume 1 is the foundation, Volume 2 is the field manual. It is designed for practitioners who must work inside complexity. Consultants, leaders, facilitators, policy makers, governance professionals, AI ethics practitioners, organizational designers, researchers, and anyone who must interpret human systems where the problem is not merely technical but meaningful, emotional, symbolic, or legitimacy sensitive. Volume 2 contains the applied tools of the discipline. It includes the field-ready versions of the 7 core tools, the issue ontology matrix, the stakeholder value map, the concept integrity test, the governance legitimacy test, the narrative meaning analysis grid, the behavioral insight ladder, and the transformation identity framework. These tools help practitioners ask better questions before they act. What kind of problem is this? Is it technical, operational, narrative, identity-based, fairness-based, or legitimacy-based? What does this issue mean to different stakeholders? Where is trust breaking down? Which narratives are shaping the situation? Which identities are being threatened? Where is legitimacy being lost? And what form of action is actually admissible? Volume 2 also provides worksheets and practitioner templates. These are not abstract models. They are structured working documents for meetings, workshops, diagnosis, reflection, and field use. They help the practitioner map meaning profiles, identity, safety, narrative structure, fairness, burdens, legitimacy, risk, symbolic pressure, emotional tone, and transformation pathways. In other words, Volume 2 gives philosophical intelligence a practical working surface. It turns interpretation into method. It turns diagnosis into structure. It turns complexity into something that can be examined without reducing it. A major part of Volume 2 is its engagement framework. This includes consulting models, crisis interpretation frameworks, organizational meaning frameworks, leadership meaning tools, transformation alignment frameworks, and legitimacy repair cycles. These materials support real-world work where people are under pressure, where trust is fragile, and where decisions must be made carefully. Volume 2 also includes workshops, simulations, training pathways, certification materials, professional standards, ethics, rubrics, research tools, and cross-cultural materials. It is therefore not only a toolkit, it is a practitioner development system. It helps users move from understanding philosophical intelligence to practicing it responsibly. This is important because interpretation is powerful. To interpret a person, a group, an organization, or a society is not a neutral act. Interpretation can clarify, but it can also distort. It can protect dignity, but it can also overreach. For this reason, Volume 2 places strong emphasis on ethical practice, professional boundaries, identity, safety, cultural respect, and legitimacy. The aim is not to make practitioners more forceful, The aim is to make them more trustworthy. Volume 2 matters because many modern failures happen after the wrong problem has already been named. A legitimacy problem is treated as a communication problem. An identity disruption is treated as resistance. A fairness burden is treated as poor messaging. A narrative collapse is treated as a lack of information. A meaning crisis is treated as a technical defect. Philosophical intelligence begins earlier. It asks, what is really happening here? What is the structure of the issue? What meanings are active? What identities are at stake? What kind of legitimacy is required? And what action can be taken without causing deeper harm? This is why Volume 2 is essential. It gives practitioners the tools to slow down, diagnose correctly, and act with greater clarity.
Volume 1 teaches the reader how to see. Volume 2 teaches the reader how to work. Together, the two volumes form a discipline, not a trend, not an opinion, not a collection of disconnected ideas, but a framework for interpreting and guiding human systems with depth, care, and responsibility. The philosophical intelligence theory exists because the world does not only need more information, it needs better interpretation. It needs better judgment. It needs tools that can work where meaning, identity, fairness, and legitimacy determine whether systems stabilize or fail. Volume 2 is the operational engine of that work. It brings philosophical intelligence into practice. Philosophical Intelligence Institute. A discipline, not a trend. A framework, not an opinion.